Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be painting the mushrooms that have all like the cute little fiddlehead ferns around the edges. To get started, just get your paint out on your plate. There's 5 colors in this one. We've got white, it's like a burnt orange color. It's called Venetian red, black, phthalo green, and chrome yellow. You don't need a whole bunch. I just got a little squirt of all. And brushes, need those, and water. I just grabbed an assortment of smaller brushes because it's a small canvas. I'm not for sure which ones I'll actually use. So to get started, I'm gonna get this moon painted, and then we're gonna like kind of dot in a bunch of like little stars. So we're just gonna use white paint, easy peasy, don't need to mix anything up. Probably could use the bigger brush, but whatever. I'm just gonna be nice and cautious, taking my time, getting my edges nice and smooth. You don't need a lot of paint on your brush. You just want enough. Just take a little at a time. You don't want big globs pooling up around the edges. You just want to get it spread out nice and even. You want to get the white lines covered that are drawn on there for you. This one got a little sloppy when I was sketching it. I'm pretty sure I can go in with an eraser when it's dry and like clean up any of the little bits that I didn't get. Not 100%, but it erases off of most everything, so I don't know why I want to erase off this. Sorry, I feel like I'm bouncing the table. My setup here for my camera is not super awesome. It's just kind of my phone and this little weird stand. It's like latches onto the table. So if the table bounces, the camera bounces. All right, so I'll let that dry and I'll come back and do another coat on it. Well, maybe I should kind of fix it up a little. We got a chunk that looks kind of weird right here. So I don't only just look at the shape of the moon when I'm trying to like clean up my edges. I look at this negative space inside, and if that's kind of a wonky shape, I find it's easier to kind of get that shape looking smooth than trying to like see how that space is a little better now. Maybe you don't. Okay, so that's drying. I'm just gonna take the back end of my brush and just dip it in my white paint. I'm just gonna go around and just blop it right on little stars. And you can do like clusters, like real close. You can do some like that. You just don't really want like a pattern. You want it to be super random. And you can bring them down. The ferns and stuff will come up into this, so we don't really need to get like all the way down because there's like a lot of grass and stuff. But you're gonna wanna maybe about to this point of the mushroom, you can see about an inch or so. Oops, wrong end. And you could do, like you could put in the like Big Dipper or something if you wanted to be real cute. Or your zodiac, astrological star formation, whatever that's called. I could probably do way less than this. Sometimes I get carried away. All right, we're gonna call that, well, maybe a few more down here. Just in case we got short grass. Okay, So I'll just wipe that off. I got this funky little towel here. I'll just wipe that off the end. And now this will be dry, the moon, so I'll just go back in with another bit of white. I'm gonna switch to a little bit bigger brush. It's just gonna be easier. Of course, this brush has like one random hair sticking out the side. Love that. It's gonna drive me crazy. Okay, now let's paint the ferns. I guess we're gonna have to get this to dry a little better as well. So start pulling my brush through there to do ferns. It's probably gonna smear some of those that I just doinked down there, those stars. I've got a blow dryer right here. I'm gonna cheat and speed it up a little by just using that. If you have a blow dryer, go get it. It makes life a lot easier, especially if you're impatient. All right, oops, sorry, bonking the table again. I'm gonna give this a quick dry. I'll be right back. If it's loud, I apologize. Okay, brace yourself, turning on. Should be good enough. We'll know here soon enough. Oh, you know what color I forgot? We need red. I don't need it right now, but I do need red. I'm sure you have it, but I do not. Sorry, just running to get it real quick. Good time if people are waiting for their things to dry. Okay. So we're gonna start in with the fern. So we're gonna make, let me just get this out of the way so you can see better what I'm doing for mixing paint. I use one of my smaller brushes to mix, just that way the bristles, there's a lot less of them and they're shorter. I use them to mix my paint up because it doesn't hold all my paint. So when I'm done mixing my color, all the paint that I've just made isn't just like living in the bristles now. So for the green color we're gonna use, it's gonna be kind of a combination of all this. But we'll get started. You're gonna want some green. And if yours is not exactly like mine, that's fine. You know how many different shades of green there are? I don't, but tons, millions probably. I don't know. A little bit of yellow. This green has quite a bit of blue in it. So we're gonna just kind of try to neutralize that down a little bit. So we get the nice green shade. Try not to spread it out too much. We want it in a pile. I'm gonna wipe the green off my bristles. Just to try to keep my pile of white looking a little nicer. I'm real good at like taking from the middle and just destroying my white. A little bit of white. Stir that guy in there. All right, so now we're gonna kind of make it dull and more, I don't know, foresty. Right now it's kind of cartoony. It's really bright. It's pretty. And if you want to use it this color, have at it. But I'm gonna start by adding a little bit of this orange. And it's gonna really dull it down. All right, this little brush is maybe a little too little. I'm gonna use this blue handled one that I have. It's not super big or anything. That's better. Much quicker stirring. But you see, it does get all up in there. I just kind of twist it to just kind of unload the bristles, press it down and twist. I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow into this. I like that. You could add a little black if you want, but it has a tendency to make things more kind of gray. It just kind of dulls everything. But it's an easy way to just get your paint like less bright, you know, cartoony. I think I'm gonna stay with that. And if yours is close to that, cool. And you know what? It's really like almost impossible to tell color on a screen because they all will look different depending on the make of your phone or your TV or whatever you're watching this on. Okay, so I got my green and I'm gonna go in and start putting in some of my swirly guys to make my ferns. And I'm gonna use, I have these 3 different brushes. And this long one is nice. This is brand new, so it's stiff. I'll wet it so it's not so crazy. It's good, like, kind of like an eyeliner. It's really hard to, like, I have a hard time doing, of course now it seems to be wanting to be good. But we're going to be doing, like, spirals at the top, so our ferns are going to kind of come up and, like, swirl around on either side. I find that the shorter bristle brushes, I have more control over. I'm not super experienced with these long ones. They're good for, like, just not too moving aroundy lines. And I've got this one too. It's the same, basically. A little shorter, a little wider. I'll stick with this guy. I am going to just dip it into my water. And you see, like, a few little drops coming off. I'll just stir it into a little area. And this just thins the paint a little bit and helps it, like, go on, like, a nice smooth line. So over here, we're coming up and around, and we don't want to go too high on our first one. Maybe about here. Actually, I'll probably start where I want it. That's a little easier. I'm gonna just kind of bring it around. And I'm gonna bring it over here. Probably should have been a little lower. Yeah, a little lower. We want it to at least come down to the ground where our mushrooms are. So I'm just gonna adjust that, and then I can paint over this line with black. And honestly, now that I have this green on here, I have a better idea of what it looks like, especially on the black. And I might want to lighten it a little bit. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm just kind of going over it to make sure it's nice and smooth. And I'll let that bit there dry, that I kind of had the boo-boo. And I will paint over black. I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna start at the bottom this time because I do feel like I struggled a little there. So this guy's gonna whoopy whoop around. And now we're gonna come up here. Sure, I like it. And these don't have to be perfect. It's nature. Everything grows a little different. The way it's just positioned, it's always a little different. And again, I'm just kind of going over it quick to just make sure my paint is evenly spread out. And it's like consistently the same amount of paint everywhere. All right, I think I can blot him out real quick. I'm just gonna take a little bit of black, go right over him like it never even happened. Magic. Okay, and on the other side, we'll do a few more. Maybe one that's coming, says that guy. I feel like I might be getting a little too twirly. We gotta put leaves in here still. So there's little leaves coming off, but they do get smaller as they kind of go up the stalk. I could put one over here. There's gonna be a bunch of grass and stuff down in here too, so it's not gonna look so weird once everything's on. Like we're just these stalks all by themselves. I mean, it's not super cool yet. They look a little funky. You just gotta trust it. There's work to be done still. Hey, sure, why not? Maybe we need like somebody up here, maybe. Maybe we can be like, woo. Yeah, look at, they don't even line up. This, ideally, should match this one. Again, I'm gonna have to clean up this little weird line, little black. It's nice about a black background, opposed to like a color that we'd have to mix up, or a light background painting with a dark color. It's super easy to fix our mistakes with the background. We don't have to try to match the color, and the background, the black, is the darkest, so whatever color we happen to mess up with, it's gonna be really easy to cover with black. It's a win. I am gonna kind of, some of these need a little bit more paint. I can see some of the background coming through. All right, over here, maybe a little bit more. Once I get leaves and stuff though, it'll start looking better. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that pokey, skinny liner kind of brush. We don't want to use that for much else other than small, thin lines. I want to use one of my flat brushes that has, you know, maybe this one. These are pretty much the same. They are. Okay, so yeah, one of these. I'm just gonna go in and like same color green. Just gonna put some leaves on there. And the shape of your leaf isn't super important. I think you can angle some up. And don't worry, we're gonna make a lighter version of this color. So if you still feel like you've got a lot of like the background coming through, don't stress, we'll get to it. We'll get that looking a lot better and you'll be feeling better about it. You can go across from each other or alternate a little. I'm gonna kind of stagger so they're not, you know, it helps fill in some of the space. So these are more together. As I'm moving upward up the stalk, I am making them a little bit smaller. They're like little oval shapes. You could do pointier ones. Do some more on this one. I'm trying not to have super thick globby paint. I see up here, this guy here got a little thicker than one would like. You don't need a lot of paint on your brush. These are very small spaces. These little leaves are eensy weensy. I'm just kind of spreading some of my globbies out. The second coat doesn't really hurt though. It's pretty quick. It doesn't take long to give it another quick little layer on there. And don't forget, if you do something that you don't like, you can always go back in when it's dry with a little bit of black. Fix her up. I got some, this guy is kind of funky here, but you can always go back and fix it. I don't have to stress too much. Just enjoy the process, relax, zone out. These teeny tiny guys, I just go from the outside of the leaf towards the stem with my brush. Just make like a little swoop, or little line. I'm gonna do some more over here. It would be a lot easier with a bigger brush. I can't do it with this one. I'm gonna go grab one that's got like a more rounded head. They tend to work pretty good for this. Kind of a leafy thing. So brushes that are round like this on the top, you can dip your brush in there, and where you have bigger leaves, you can just push towards center. I should have started this way. It's a lot easier. I got smaller ones I'll switch over to get these, because they're gonna get, this won't make super small ones. And I don't really worry about, like once we do the lighter coat, this whole mess will kind of work itself out, because we'll pick like who's gonna be on top, and we'll only highlight the smaller ones, or not smaller ones, the ones that are on top. So we're gonna pretend like this kind of comes down over here, so maybe there's a leaf sticking out there. I can fix that when I paint my mushroom. You know what? I'm not even gonna worry about that thing I wanted to fix. We're just gonna blob a leaf on it. Blob a leaf. Now I want to fix these a little. Not fix so much as like, I just need them to be consistently the same as these. So I'm just gonna go back over them so that they match a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So they look the same. So I found this cute little painting on the internet. Not sure who exactly painted it, but the signature at the bottom said Amy. So, Amy, this is very cute. I'm painting it from memory, so I'm not like looking at it. So that helps me not be like copying 100%. I wish I was looking at it because I'm like, I'm not really sure how these leaves went, but this is how they're going now. It's okay. I know no matter what, they'll look like leaves. Hers might end up being cuter than mine, and that is perfectly fair. It's pretty cute to begin with because obviously I liked it. That's why we're painting it. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a smaller brush so I can just, and you don't really necessarily need a round tip for the teeny tiny guys because I don't have one that's that small. Just a square brush. This one's angled, so it'll work fairly decent. Let's do, and you can always kind of like shape them a little bit if you need to. Some of these are still kind of big. These are too small. Too small. They need to be a little chunkier. Just gonna kind of fill them in a little so they're not looking so scarce. Not loving this brush. I literally have two that are the same here. Here's, I got a jar of different ones. This one's a little wider and it doesn't have the angle. Yeah, that's better. I do need to get some bigger ones here. I got big ones, little ones. I need something kind of in between. I'll just go back to this bigger brush. And I just won't push down as hard. So hopefully it'll make a smaller relief. Yep, perfect. I don't know if this is how the leaves are supposed to be. Yes, it's cute. Okay. Let's see, what next? I feel like let's get our mushrooms painted up. Maybe, yeah. I don't know, maybe I want another. I feel like we can get one more swooped up, maybe come off the thing and swirl it up here. So one more line. I'm gonna go back to my long skinny brush or whatever, my liner brush. Where did I put it? Right here. A little water in my paint. Stir, stir, stir. What did I say? I want one maybe that comes from here, goes off the page, and I'll have it come back on the page over here. 2 minute swoops. I gotta remember, I gotta get the leaves in there, so this little bit I don't want in that. Gotta have room for the leaves. I hear people talking on Main Street. It always kind of cracks me up because they don't realize how loud they are, first of all, and that I can hear them through the glass of the studio. Okay, let's do leaves. Need this one for my bigger leaves. I'm just gonna go in and give another quick coat here and there where things are looking a little thin. I can use a small brush and paint it on, like fill in with multiple strokes, or you can go back to using a bigger brush and just some of these bigger leaves. You could do another quick coat, just another swoop right on top to help give them a little more color. Okay, so I'm gonna lighten up my green. We're gonna make it, we're gonna change it up, make it a different shade. First, I'll start with some white. I don't have a lot left here. Just mixing it right on my same pile. Shouldn't need a ton of this. Gonna add a little bit more green, more yellow, more brown. I'm gonna make a little bit more. This one is much different than my first one. More green. And it's not the same, but it's closer. Because I'm making it a lighter shade, it's okay if it's like a little more orangey or a little more yellowy. It'll look nice regardless. A little more white. We want it to show up pretty good. Didn't clean my brush out though. Look, I dirtied up my whole pile. Now once I get this on there, I'll have a better idea of what it's gonna look like. And this color is kind of like what we're gonna see mostly. So you're gonna wanna like this color. So if you're not happy with it, take the time to fix her up. It's not mixed perfectly, but that's fine. I'm going to take one of my smaller brushes and just take a little, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's nice. I'm just gonna kind of brush it on my leaves a little here and there. we're not like completely filling them in. We're leaving some of that other green showing. You can put a little swoop on a little bit of your stems here and there. We're gonna make one shade up lighter just for the very end to just brighten the few spots. Oops, I got a little orange in my paint. It's okay. And as you see, as it dries, it does get a little darker. If you want to use the brush like before to do like just one little stroke and it makes the leaf, you can do that, but you're gonna end up covering a lot more of the green than I am, which is fine. Everybody's always has their own little look anyway. Like, nobody's looks the same. It'd be really weird if they did. Like, you'd have to really like be focused and perfectionist-y to get it identical, and that kind of sucks the fun out of it. It's way more fun just to do it and back and forth with your eyes looking at something else trying to match it. Just roll with it. It doesn't have to look just like mine or somebody else's if you're painting this with a friend. I'm gonna get my swoopy highlighted. I'm gonna do these guys. I feel like my hand is probably right in the way. It's kind of awkward position. I don't want to like rearrange it so you can't see, even though it's exactly what we've been doing for the rest of them. gonna ignore this part here, and I'm just gonna do here, because I want this one to be on the front. This is gonna get a little crazy. Okay, once you get this all finished up, gonna add a little bit more white into my color. You can see it's noticeably lighter than the color we were just using. Gonna scrape the excess out. Wipe it off on my towel. Now I'm just gonna go in and give a few little brighter spots, like this lighter green. Like maybe the tops here. I could even go a little lighter. It's not really showing up that much. So let's take some of this and more white. You can see it's much lighter than what we just did. Sometimes you don't really know until it's on there. So you gotta adjust once you get going. Should switch over to my skinniest brush for this, but I'm just gonna keep on with this brush. I'm just kind of defining my little, and it's just sketchy. It's not like a solid line. And I find once you try doing like solid lines, you get a little shaky. So if you just do like short little sketchy ones, it's a lot easier. I can put a few little spots of highlights here. Don't want to get too many as it starts to get kind of chaotic. Go over here, we're a little chaotic. Hoping once I get in with my lightest green, I could kind of reshape and like redefine what we're seeing. Just checking just sat up and looked at the camera, make sure we're still rolling. Always a little nervous that it's gonna cut out on me or something. All right, that seems pretty okay. Maybe a little bit. So I'm gonna do the same over here. You're just gonna kind of pick and choose a few. Maybe I can get, I feel like this one needs, few little guys. Sure, why not? Okay, so same idea. We're just gonna kind of, this one's a little wet still. Highlight our swirly dude. These ones over here closest to the moon. Makes sense that they'd be a little lighter. They're getting some light to reflect. Okie doke, so let's paint our mushrooms. This one, I still feel like that needs, I'm gonna take a skinny brush. Just to give, kind of lost it right here. This one did get a little crazy. It's a little crazy. It's okay, it's still cute. Mushrooms, so we're paint the stems. We're gonna make kind of like a really light tan. So I'm gonna clean up my brush. We're gonna paint our little stemmies. I'm gonna start with brown, orange, black, stir it together. Should make us a nice dark brown. Just kind of scrape off the excess. A scoop of white with our dirty brush. And we have a nice light brown. A little green in it, that's okay. Not gonna be noticeable. I feel like if you want, it's kind of a cool shade of brown. I'm gonna warm it up. Just a touch of yellow, not a lot. See how that teeny tiny bit really did something? But at least it's like warmer toned now. There we go. I'm I'm just gonna fill in my stems. You can kind of fray out that little part that sticks down. We'll define that better later. We're just getting a base coat on. So just some nice thin layer. Smaller brush probably would be better, especially for this little guy. But it's okay. We'll let that dry a minute. Okay, let's see. What else do we need? We can start the mushroom itself, like the cap part. And the red, if we paint just red on this black by itself, it really doesn't show up super great. So I'm going to take a whole bunch of white, teeny tiny bit of red, make pink. And I'm going to like prime it, if you will. The white will help block out the black behind it. And then once it gets a nice solid foundation of this color on there where no black is coming through, too much anyway, and this is dry, then we'll do the top layer, which will be just our red color that we want it to be. So you're just gonna get your pink on. And the more white, honestly, the better. Even if you just want to do straight white, that'll work fine. Work great, actually. Because the more white that's in your mix, the more it's gonna block out that black. I'll do a second coat on my stems. Same color that I just used for the first coat. Then I'll just take a little bit more of my brown that I made. I'm just gonna stir it over here so we got a little bit darker. And then you can kind of put that around, kind of get some shadows on there. I'm just doing this really loose. I could put some more defined ones in, especially like where that little fray bit is. But this helps give it a little bit more dimension. It's not as flat. And my pink is still quite wet. I'm gonna give it a little blow dry zap. So, okay, hold on, it's gonna get loud. Brace yourself. Okay, this time for real. Nope, it's not any of it. Why are you acting a fool? My pudding? Alright, this is good. So I'm gonna do another another coat of our pink. getting all those mushroom caps nice and filled in. You still see a lot of that black coming through. We're gonna get rid of that. Second coat does wonders. And it doesn't have to like be perfectly even, like as far as no shadows or whatever. Not shadows, but like bits showing through, because it creates shadows. So like when I paint the red, this little piece here that looks darker, it's gonna kind of look like a darker shade of red. So perfection is not necessary. Imperfection actually kind of helps us out. I'll do some more on my stems. This time, I'm going to use just a teeny tiny bit on my brush of this dark brown color. And you can just kind of get it to kind of make this fringy bit. You can maybe put a little swoop the darkest bits where there's going to be more shadow. It's just real subtle, just a little bit. And I'll add a little bit of a lighter brown. So I've got my lightest brown here. I'm gonna just scrape some of that up. Add some more white to it. And just gonna brush a little bit of that on. And you can go over some of the darker browns that you just put on. That looks good to me, I like it. Gonna hit the blow dryer on that pink again, and then we can paint it red. I'm just gonna use plain red, my bigger brush. It's gonna take a couple coats again, because the red will always kind of look a little bit pink on its first coat. See what I'm saying? So we'll do one nice even coat, let it dry, and the second nice even coat. Gonna blow it dry, save some time. Okay, and I'll get a little more on there. Now I'm gonna add a touch of black. That's a lot, not that much. A little bit of black. Red. Doesn't take a lot at all, as you can see. And with the darker bit of red, we're just gonna kind of brush on so it's not just flat. We're gonna help kind of give it some depth and dimension. Be a little darker on the edge here. It might work a little better if my paint was a little more dry. I'm gonna blow it dry, and then I'm just gonna add some red back on. One more quick coat of the red, just plain red, none of the dark red, nothing that has the black in it. We're just gonna give it one more quick once over with the plain red. So see, there's a few spots that are looking a little pinkish. Gonna just get rid of them. And it really doesn't affect the shadows too much that we put on those darker parts. It tones them down a little bit, but it doesn't like get rid of them, which is perfect. Okay, so these have like little mushroom spot things, little kind of, they're like a light color like this. I'm gonna use one of my small square brushes. We're gonna use some of this, actually let's use this lightest one. So it's white and some of our light brown, which was brown, a lot of white, and I put a touch of yellow in it, but that's not necessary. And if you run out of the brown, it's the black and the orange makes the brown. You'll take a touch of that and with a lot of white. And then even lighter yet for our mushroom spots is our highlight color we used here. We can even add a little bit more on that if we need. We can give it a little second layer, goes on a little nicer and brighter. This might even be a little lighter, who knows? And you could do circle dots. They're easier, but these are kind of like lumpy little guys. So they're like weird shapes. They're not really round, they're kind of ovally. That doesn't get weird. I try not to be too patterny. Some off the edge. And our mushroom does kind of curve down, so we want to kind of follow that so we kind of maintain the shape of our mushroom. And I'm not being too particular right now. I can go back in, kind of clean them up. I honestly wish I had the picture to reference, but it's okay. Whatever I do will be fine. So we're gonna just get those on, and these will need a couple coats just to make sure none of that red is coming through. As far as memory serves, this looks pretty good to me. I like it. I'll add some of them onto this guy, maybe littler ones. I don't remember. And then I'm gonna put like a little bit of a shadow on these so they look more lumpy bumpy. So underneath, like right at the base where the red and the white meet, I'm just gonna put a little bit of my dark red right under. And I put a little bit of like a like this same color, but maybe just add a touch of brown. We don't want it quite that dark, but we can put a little shadow on our lumpy bumps too. Okay. Let's get teeny tiny brush. We don't want to get carried away. So long skinny one will be fine because we're not like filling in a lot of area. We just want to put like a little swoop. So a thin liner brush. If I could find one under my drawer. There we go. Found it. So I'll take a little bit of my dark red that I made. I'm just gonna I think there's too much water in my brush, so it's pretty subtle, but once it dries, it'll be a little more noticeable. Because acrylic paint always dries a little darker. This one's kind of fun to paint. I've been enjoying this. It's so cute. Oops. Just cleaning up some of my scragglies. And take a little of this dark red too, and it's kind of right around the edge, the bottom edge of my mushrooms. And I'll add a little bit of the brown that I was talking about. This could take a little bit more of that cream color, like right up close. It's very noticeable, but from a distance I can't tell. I'm not gonna worry about it, but if you wish to do a little bit more of a coat on any of the lighter colors, feel free. I'm gonna move along. I wanted just to add a touch of my brown over here. And I'm gonna put a little, not doesn't have to be on all of them. Just a little bit of variation in my lumpy bumps. Here and there. If you want to use a square brush, feel free. Honestly, you do what you want to do as far as brushes go. What I prefer to use may not be what you prefer to use. So, you do you. I'll do me. I'm just cleaning up some of this. It's kind of messy. All right, so now I'm gonna put some just grass in to kind of fill in some of this empty space. And I've got my greens here. If you need to make some more, go right ahead. Remember, if you need to make the green, it's green, yellow. We did some brownish, burnty orange color, and white. You could even add a little black in if you wanted. Instead of orange, the orange is what I use to dull it down because it doesn't get as gray, I guess. That was a lot. I don't know why I grabbed that much. I'm gonna push this out of the way so I can get a good stir. Some yellow in there. And some white. The white kind of helps you decide like where you're at. Well, once you put the white in, you can see your color a lot better. So I feel like this is a little darker than I started over here. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe I'll add a little bit more white, a little bit more yellow. It's like super hard to get the exact same match. And for grass, I'm not going to be too stressy about it because it's just grass. I'm gonna switch to a brush that I don't have one over here really. Here we go. So a small square brush. I like to use it on the edge because it holds more paint, first of all. Here's one. This one, see, on the skinny, you can paint like on its edge and you can get nice lines. But use a thinner brush too if you want, like the liner brushes. This guy, you can do nice long grassy lines with that. It's just the only problem is they don't hold a lot of paint and you got to go back and get more. And it does want to like kind of pull around the edges of a smaller brush. So you'll have like thick paint in some places, which is okay. You just kind of don't want to keep going over it, or you'll end up like with a spot that you're not happy with. So I'm just dipping my brush in some water because I want lines so they're kind of long. This helps the flow of paint. This brush honestly isn't the best for this. It likes to separate, but we're going to give her a whirl. I'm just going to start putting some lines in. We're going to layer. So we'll have lighter ones on top. You can put as few or as many in as you like. You can put some over top of our mushrooms here. Kind of tucked in. Open on some of our ferny ferns. And you can go right to your edge if you want, or leave a little space. And I'll leave a little, oh, see, there's the big old glob of paint. I'm going to try to spread it out without making a holy mess. Okay, I don't love the edge this puts on. I don't have all the brushes that I like for that are over there. I'm gonna grab one. There we go, right here. These have softer bristles and less bristles. They're a little old, so they're a little imperfect, but I think we'll be fine. I go through brushes like crazy. Okay, so I got my lighter, my medium shade over here of my green. I'm gonna grab some of that. It's just this with a little more white in it. And I'm just gonna start layering. Getting some different shades of my greens in here. Some lighter greens. I always press my brush out too. Like you get it full of the paint and then you press it out so you have this nice thin bristle. And I don't put a lot of pressure on it, very light-handedly, so I can get nice thin lines. And then lastly, I'll just go in with a little bit of white, just to get some nice bright highlights, just get it to pop a little. I mean, I'm gonna try to get some nice clean white. Try to avoid that green bit there. I should put a little water in my paint, but I didn't. Gonna now don't want too many, just here and there. Should switch to a smaller brush for this. Don't know why I didn't. Got a weird bit. Yeah, smaller brush. What am I thinking? Ridiculous. There is. There it is. Let's put a couple mushrooms up here. I believe it had some mushrooms. We got this really light tan or highlight color of a mushroom. I'm just gonna like maybe one tall skinny guy here. We're gonna just make, they're gumdrop shaped kind of. I wish I could remember. Maybe one here. I feel like there was 3 of them. Colored like one of my cutest little ferny guys. That was silly. And I'm gonna give them stems. A little water in my paint. We're gonna put them behind the red cap mushrooms. He's gonna be coming down. Ooh. He doesn't need to be that wiggly. I don't know why I made him that wiggly. He's a very wiggly guy. Oh, this one will be less wiggly. We're just gonna get him on there like this. To help hide this one's wiggles. I can go in and touch up that little bit of the red that I've smeared into. This one's coming down. Coming down here. Sure. I'm gonna sneak it into the grass a little better. Put a little grass over top of it. Tuck them in a little. Just tidying up the edge there. Okay, letting them dry a little because I want another coat. And we are gonna kind of shape them out a little. But while they're drying, instead of using the blow dryer, I'm gonna add a little bit of white using smaller brush to some of my fern. Just here and there. Got that little bit over here of the watered down white that I used when I was doing the grass and such. So I'm gonna just try to, just a few even lighter little spots here and there. I just forgot to swirly guy that one. I'm gonna, what am I gonna do about that? Don't love that. Gonna take some of my green. Just try to thin him out a little bit. Better. Yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of green here where I got a little crazy too. Just thin it out, and it kind of like helps incorporate it in so that the white isn't just like on top. Helps kind of tie it in a little nicer. I'm using this green here. It's one of the darker shades that they have. The darkest shade of my grass. Okay. Second coat of my like light mushroom color. It was the highlight color of this thing. My big mushrooms. Where is it? Right here. It's almost gone. I need to clean out my brush better. I need some white. White, please. Without the green. Teeny tiny bit of brown. White. Just a touch of yellow. Now it needs white. I'm just gonna get some new whites because digging out of that mess I made is frustrating me. Clean spot. Nice hunk of white. And we're just gonna give these little mushroom guys a second coat. Probably have my arm in wet paint. Be careful of that. Touch up some of this guy. Probably gonna want to put a little bit more the brown in. Kind of lost my shadow a little bit. That's just a little bit of this brown. It's cute. Take a little bit this brown, some of my that light mushroom color. Gonna put a little bit of a shadow on these little stemmies. I'm kind of hitting the left-hand side a little. It's pretty subtle. I don't even know if you can see it on camera. Kind of a swoop across the bottoms. Oh, I feel. Gotta fix my red right there. It looks kind of weird. I see that one piece coming out. You can just grab a little of the dark red. It'll work best. Clean up some of that edges. I feel like I need a little bit more light color right in here. You can go just work around here and there, wherever you see something you need to fix, go for it. I'm thinking this painting is complete at this point. I think I've got it all. I can't remember what it looks like. Seems like there was more variation in color down in here, the one I was looking at, but I really quite like this, the way it is. It's very cute. I'm gonna sign my name and call it a day. Find me a good brush, a little bit of paint, a little bit of water. Ta-da! All done. All right. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I can't remember. I froze. Anyway, I guess. Hope you enjoyed painting along with me. And what the heck? I keep not knowing what to say. All right. Whatever. Bye.